born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes. We are rolling. Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet for another episode. We haven't been here for a while.
Oh, gosh.
We've been busy, which is good. It's been a good busy. But,
no, it hasn't.
Well, no. Actually, yeah, the first week was not. The first week we missed was 3 weeks ago when we were in the hospital.
Was that 3 weeks ago already?
Yeah.
I thought you guys were gonna just. I thought I'd just get on and you guys would be doing a live.
We could have done that. We just felt it would be a little disrespectful to do it without you guys.
Right?
That's
all right. We'll tell you how to set it up. I just would be interested to see what you guys talk about for an hour.
Maybe we'll remember that. So the next time you're gone on Wednesday, me and Zach might just do it.
Even if you just put your phone up and just hit live, you could just do it right.
I was like, because I mostly just sit here and talk, so I don't really know any other stuff.
We could definitely record it. The Facebook Live might be tricky.
That's true. That's true. I love it. But
we should just schedule it for you guys to do it one day. Just see how it goes.
Be interesting.
I don't know what we're talking about. Just the Zach and Jake show.
It'd be like 10 minutes.
The Zach and Jake show. Hi guys, I'm here and we're going to talk about Zach and Jake today. But welcome back in. We're hopefully going to be back on our weekly schedule here as as we get our schedules and stuff worked out. But if this is the first time joining us, the Gym Closet is all about living like an athlete and coaching all of our athletes and anyone else on how to live like an athlete, which means how to be great, how to live successful, both inside of the gym. We do training tips, we do all that kind of stuff, but then also outside of the gym, best practices on ways to live as far as ways to challenge yourself, ways to set goals. All of that kind of stuff is involved in living like an athlete and living the best life that you can. So that's what we talk about on a daily basis. Today we have some awesome, we have a word of the week. We're going to be talking a lot about our season because we are smack in the middle of our endurance season, Heart and Hustle. So we're going to be talking about that. We also have some athlete shout outs along with that, and then also on top of that. And we've been getting a bunch of questions. If you haven't seen Amber on social media talking about macronutrients, where the hell have you been?
Yeah, they're really good videos.
They
guys.
are all over the place. But she's been getting a ton of questions. And so we're going to answer some of those questions now. And this will also be something that we can hopefully send out to anybody that is wondering what macronutrients and stuff are.
So full disclaimer, I got to go back. So last week we were prepared. Was it last week we were prepared? But then we ran out of time because we talked too much in the office. And then we're like, oh shit, it's already 11.
It does happen often.
It happens very often. So it's not like we're just like at home chilling. Like we are in the office talking. And then
our other
look
meeting
at the
ran
clock.
long.
Yeah. And we're like, damn.
We have things to do. Like sometimes it makes me laugh, sometimes because people like in Waukee, like if I'm over there like head coaching or something, they'll be like, oh, are you coaching a session? I'm like, no, I'm doing things.
Other
I do other things.
Yeah,
I do other things besides.
There's a lot of behind the scenes gym action.
Coach your session.
Yeah.
A lot of behind the scenes gym action that a lot of people don't know about.
Don't know. Right.
But
it's all good. So yeah, what are we talking about first?
All right, so let's get into our word of the week real fast is macronutrients. So this I think is going to be the longest segment if we don't get to some of the other stuff because we only have about a half hour.
Once again,
there's going to be other stuff to do.
If we don't get to everything else, we'll push that back. But macronutrients is, so we do a form of basically if it fits your macros. We call it flexible nutrition because if it fits your macros kind of gets a bad name in the general population. So if you look at if it fits your macros, it is probably a search on how to make pizza and Pop-Tarts and things fit into your nutrition. Now that is an element of it, but that's not what it's all about. So the biggest thing with flexible nutrition as we do it is being able to have those things that you enjoy eating, but doing it on a budget so that you know either if it's something that you have to eat every single day, then it is a portion control, and we give tools and tricks to do that. But then it's also the second thing would be how to make those fit in your week as far as your average. And so that's more of that overall definition of our flexible nutrition program. So if you are getting on that with our coaches, It's an awesome program. If you've seen, Amber showed some results of some of her clients. One of my shout outs is a nutrition athlete of mine, and he's been killing it. We've had amazing results, not only with the program training, but if you combine that with nutrition, that's where it's all at, because 80% of people's results come from nutrition. It just so happens that when you work out and when you're starting to hit your scheduled training sessions, you accidentally usually do a pretty good job of eating better as well. So it's a happy accident. But if you are having trouble keeping on track with your nutrition, this is where it's at. So macronutrients, a quick description of what we're talking about. There's 3 and then 1 pseudo, but carbohydrates, fat, and protein are macronutrients. Those 3 are really all we're worried about. It breaks down calorie counting into a new level. And so each of those is what we're talking about. We also touch on alcohol because, again, flexible nutrition includes alcohol. We teach you how to track it and how to fit it into your nutrition. And so that's a pseudo macro because it's kind of fake energy when your body is digesting it. But they're basically nutrients at the largest amount. So a macronutrient is compound. We'll read kind of the actual definition. Is a component of food that the body needs for energy to maintain body structure and systems. And so the definition of each of those, you have to know those 3, right? Carbohydrates, fat, and protein. And food is comprised of all 3 of those. What you're eating right now is comprised of those 3 macronutrients. Every piece of food that you eat, if it's edible, I guess you could eat a piece of wood that's not.
And then you have to be on that show that's like.
Right. If you're eating couch cushions or like Tide Pods,
we got other issues.
We got issues.
World
issues.
issues.
Yeah. But the 3 macronutrients is in everything that you're eating. What we do and what the ultimate goal of flexible nutrition is knowing what is in your food, what your food is comprised of, and the amounts in which you can have it throughout the day. That's a really simple definition of our flexible nutrition. And so basically macronutrients, each one of those 3, it has a use in your body. So if you think about carbohydrates, and I always compare it to a car because it's a really good analogy when it comes to, so that's what I'm going to be pushing here. But carbohydrates is your body's preferred energy. So eating 100 grams of carbohydrates is 100 grams of energy for your body. So in a car, that's gasoline, right? Fat is going to be your body's systems and regulating all your hormones, all of your systems in your body. That basically is the oil in your car, right? It makes sure that everything that is moving smoothly. And then the protein is the building blocks of your muscles and of your body. And so in that regard, the protein is the seats of your car, the doors of your car, all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of how we use that analogy in our macronutrients as a definition so people can kind of wrap their head around those things. Now, if you think about it as a car, you need all 3 of those things in order for your car to run and work, right? If you don't have seats, you're going to be really uncomfortable, which you're not going to, is part of the recovery process, is that protein. If you don't have, the trunk, you're driving around with a lot of duct tape on there, you're going to have issues. If you don't have gas, you're not going to go very far. If you don't have oil in your car, you're not going to, you're going to end up smoking out the engine. Something's going to be wear down and your engine's going to blow up. So all of those things are very comparable to the 3 macronutrients. And that's kind of the overall brief definition of kind of what those do for us.
Brief.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is about
You
it.
could go a lot more detail, yeah.
But
that's like
No,
a
it
5
was
page
brief. It was
definition.
that's pretty good.
So that's an overall high level is what I was trying to accomplish with this word of the week.
And
But
are you suggesting too that that it's okay to eat a carb?
you can and need to eat a carb. Yes. So that's a
Wow.
huge thing. A lot of people in today's world get on these fad diets that talk about carbs are bad, doing all these different things, that if your car is not having one of those 3 macronutrients in the right ratios, and that's what our coaches are here for, is we set up the ratios for you. We give you a plan on how to hit those numbers, similar to a budget, right? In our flexible nutrition. And that's why, like, If It Fits Your Macros gets a bad name when it comes to like these diets in the media, is because it kind of got translated as the way for like bodybuilders and people on flexible or on If It Fits Your Macros to eat Pop-Tarts and pizza and all this kind of stuff. But the cool thing is you can do those things in a limited capacity, because a Pop-Tart, no food is bad, right? And that's what a lot of these diets end up making you think, is that, oh, a Pop-Tart's bad. I can't eat a donut because it's bad. All food is made up of those 3 things. So if you have any food that is a clean, healthy food, and any food that is, a dirty food, if you break them down to the nutrient level, they have the same 3 macros: fats, protein, carbohydrates. It's just in a different ratio. So like if you want a Pop-Tart, if you want a Twizzlers, if you want whatever, those take up your budget for the day. So for example, if I'm coaching Amber, I would give her how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs, and how many grams of fats that she should eat on a daily basis. During that day, she chooses how she wants to do that, right? So if she's wants a piece of pizza in the morning, great, but guess what? Your fats, your carbs are going to be relatively high from that piece of pizza, and your protein is going to be relatively low. So now we have to think about later on in the day, how do we get just protein without the extra carbs, without the extra fats, and you can decide. And so it's a very liberating, I don't like calling it a diet, but it's a very liberating way to do your nutrition. And if you're taught the right steps, the ultimate goal is to be able to eventually accidentally hit your goals while tracking less and not having to worry about it, because you just know what the food you enjoy is comprised of, and you make decisions accordingly. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people, obviously food is made up of proteins, fats, and carbs. But where we run into issues is when we don't know the balance of those.
Right.
So what we see a lot of times is people come in, I've been doing this for so long, we all have. But like you'll have them track for the first week, just get on MyFitnessPal, start tracking, and then they'll come in and their fats will be like 100 grams, their protein like 50, which is high, yeah.
Protein,
and then
50 is low.
And then your carbohydrates are at 75 or whatever, which is low too. So most of the time people aren't eating enough and they think they're eating, but then you can slow your metabolism down if you're not eating enough. So we have to find that fine balance. And so it helps you realize like, wow, I didn't know an avocado had this much fat in it. I didn't realize peanut butter had this much fat. Well, let's take those things out. Let's put your energy towards, we need to bump your protein up. We need to increase your carbs. Let's lower your fat, because you could be storing and holding energy as fat because you're eating so much fat. And so I think we see all different types, but one of the things we notice the most is people have this negativity around carbs, and your body needs them. You need them for energy. You need them for your mindset, like your mind to function and
your
work
brain
and stuff.
literally runs on carbohydrates.
And so one of the,
and that's it.
Courtney wouldn't care that I talked about her at all, because she's let me share her results. She's super, positive from where she's come from. But she had this mindset on carbohydrates, and that's one of her highest macros is her carbohydrates, and she's higher than she's ever been, but she's losing weight. And she's like, I don't understand this. And I'm like, your body needs carbohydrates, and if you're moving all the time and you're working out and you're burning energy, you need those to feel good.
Right.
And so it's just a really cool thing to see. Like, some people don't even know how many proteins, fats, and carbs they're eating, so this is a good way to figure all that out.
Yeah, no, and I think it just creates like a really good relationship with food too. I mean, I've had a lot of people, I would say the majority of people that I work with come from that same line of thinking. And I think unfortunately it's just a society thing, where, you know, carbs are bad, and, you know, it's just one of those, it's just the phase that we're in right now where everybody knows what they're talking about and on social media, and they all say carbs are bad. So that's just the way it is.
The gurus know.
Right. And so, like, I've had people literally, you know, get emotional in our meetings before, which is so cool to see, because they've, you know, went from this cycle of, you know, 2 months not eating a carb for 2 months, and, you know, they lose a lot of weight right away, but then, you know, after those first 2 weeks they start gaining all that weight back, and now all of a sudden they're the same weight they started. They're not eating any carbs, and then all of a sudden they try to add carbs back in, and now they're gaining more weight all of a sudden, you know. So it's just this kind of vicious cycle where, you know, it's like a step forward, 2 steps back, a step forward, 2 steps back, all while you're basically starving yourself by not eating any carbs at all. And, you know, like they said,
and it's
you know,
interesting.
life,
So
you know?
the science behind that is, if you cut out carbs, so each carb that gets put, every gram of carb that gets put into your muscles, it takes about 3 grams of water to actually get put into your muscles. So as you get rid of all your carbs, not only are you getting rid of that carbohydrate stores in your body or in your muscles as you start burning through those, but it's also getting rid of water weight. So that's why a lot of times when you cut out carbs that first week, 10 days, 2 weeks, you might see a 8-10 pound weight loss, and on the scale that looks awesome. But what you don't realize is all that is water weight and the actual food that you were putting into your body as carbohydrates getting burned off and not replacing it with more energy. And so that's that initial weight loss. So then you don't actually get into burning your body fat until you're under eating if you're in a deficit, you're going to start burning body fat. If you're in a surplus for a long amount of time, you're going to be gaining body fat. So that's basically the only thing that matters is calories in versus calories out. But we dial it into the ratio a little bit more. So if then you start, so now you've been starving yourself, you have, you know, that 10 pound initial weight loss, that's all water weight. You then start, you can't maintain that. How long could you go without eating?
There's maybe
right?
1 out of 1,000 people that could legitimately sustain.
And that's
never
probably
eating a
people
carb
that
again.
have, like,
They
Yeah.
probably
you know,
enjoy
they have to,
that type
or
of
their
food that's more
eating
fatty.
carbs
Right.
give them a bad response. You know, like they're celiac or they're
Right.
Well, and that's a whole different
yeah.
thing.
No,
but-
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not,
and
it's
so
not realistic.
Right.
that's not realistic to maintain. In any nutrition program that you're on, you should be able, if you go into that nutrition program and you say, I can't do this my whole life, then you shouldn't be doing that nutrition program. There shouldn't be a diet where you're doing it for a certain amount of time and then stopping. This is something that you can maintain and you can adjust for the rest of your life to fit into your lifestyle. But then back to, you know, then you add those carbs back. You start eating carbs again. Not only do you put those carbs, that energy back into your muscles, but now you're also pushing water it takes water, 3 grams for every gram of carbs, to push that carbohydrate back into your muscle. So now your muscles are full of carbs and water, and guess what? That adds weight. You know, a certain amount of grams is a weight. So on the scale, now you just gain that 8 to 10 pounds back, and that's where it gets depressing. So then you're like, the thought process is, oh, I stopped eating carbs, I dropped weight. I started eating carbs, I gained weight. And so that is a tough thing to wrap your head around, that it's not weight that is good weight, it's strictly water weight when you see that number fluctuate. So it's not the carbs doing you a favor, it's the carbs basically leaving your body with water that is the weight drop. And so I think that that's a lot of the psyche behind the thought process behind the loss of weight, that lost weight equals good, gained weight equals bad. I stopped eating carbs and I lost. I started eating carbs and I gained.
Right. And I think
that's how they kind of correlate.
The way that I explain it to a lot of my nutrition clients is, I always, think of it as, it could be either end of the spectrum, where if you lose 8 pounds in a week like that, you can also gain that 8 pounds in a week.
Right.
Because it's water weight. Because so basically 3,500 calories equates to 1 pound of body fat. So unless you, whatever 3,500 times 8 is, unless you were in that much of a deficit that week, which is borderline impossible, you did not lose 8 pounds of fat.
You did not eat.
Right. You did not lose 8 pounds of body fat.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And then same thing, I have people all the time, that, they get on the scale, they're up 3 pounds because they're holding the water weight. Unless you overate by 3,500 times 3, unless you were in that much of a caloric surplus that week, you did not put on 3 pounds of body fat. It just can't happen. It's scientifically impossible.
Yep.
So if you lose 3 pounds in a week, you can also gain that 3 pounds in a week. If you lose 8 pounds in a week, you can also gain that 8 pounds in a week because a lot of that is water weight.
It's a great way to approach it. The other thing that you have to think of as a human, any acute measurement, so any measurement at one time cannot be measured against any other single measurement. We're all measuring in trends and averages and all of that kind of stuff. So we worry about your week's average, we worry about your month's average, we worry about in the last 4 weeks, what's your average weekly weight loss? That's the things that we worry about. We never worry about a single day's weight because there are just an abundance of things that could fluctuate that acute measurement. All the way from, did you sleep an hour less last night? You're gonna weigh more. Did you drink more water? Have you gone to the bathroom today? Did you eat more recently? And so there's all these things that can mess with a single measurement. So we never want, as coaches, we never mess with that. We never worry or put too much emphasis on any single measurement. So that's one thing that you have to kind of get through your head as well. But these are all amazing things. All of us coaches, all of the coaches at Krave, we have a nutrition certification that is internal to us. So all of us have the education needed to coach any of our athletes through the process of our flexible nutrition program. So if you're interested, definitely let us know. We have a great deal for all of our athletes that are members at the gym for us, but we also do not limit it to that. So anybody that is watching this, I have athletes in Florida, Chicago. We have the virtual capability in today's world to help you with your nutrition. So we have those programs set, ready to go, coaches ready for you. So if you're interested, jump on the program.
Yeah, and can you attach a link to it where they can fill out a form?
The link will be right there, right below.
But seriously, I know a lot of people like to do their own research and try to figure it out themselves, and why that might work. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, because if you haven't been eating, then it gives you all these macros, and then you start at that surplus.
And accountability. Having a coach is huge.
So it's the best. It's honestly one of the best investments you can make, because what I love about flexible nutrition is it's something you can carry with you for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You don't always have to track what you're eating. Like once you hit, your goal, and then from there, like so many athletes realize, wow, I didn't eat enough protein today. Like not even looking at their MyFitnessPal, they can just feel it, or they can just sense like, wow, I'm like craving protein because I haven't gotten enough, or or gosh, that had a lot of carbs in it. Like you start healthy habits and you don't have to track forever. And I think one of the biggest things too is like you can enjoy dinners with your family. Like you don't have to cook your own little meal over here and have your family eat something else. You can eat, you can enjoy, you can go out with friends, you can go watch football games.
Yeah. Or like one of the cool things that one of my clients was telling me the other day is like their son had a birthday party and they could eat a piece of cake. And they had done keto before, where before, that piece of cake is the worst thing you can possibly eat.
And they enjoy it, right? Because they know they can have it. Like, it's not like they're eating it thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain 5 pounds of weight. They're like, no, this is awesome.
Right.
I can have this cake and not feel guilty. And I'm going to still get results.
Right.
Like, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah. And I remember, and it's still it's something that it does take time to get used to, as far as like the thought process behind being okay with eating certain things, because like you said, there's so many things where this is a bad food, this is a good food, and like so this person that had come in, I think they told me right away, they're like, it was my son's birthday, we had cake, I'm probably going to be up in weight this week. Well, no, you're not, because you fit that piece of cake into your numbers for that day, so you hit your right amount of carbs, you ate the carb that your body needs to be healthy and to function properly, and that cake is actually being put to use as energy in your body, and you're down a pound that we want you to be. So that was kind of cool to see. I thought.
It's awesome. Definitely worth checking out, guys.
Yeah, definitely. And so if we're that turned into kind of an infomercial for our, but I love it because
It's good.
Sorry. Well, you talked the whole time, and I had so much to say over here, and then you just ended it, and I'm like, well, I'm not done
no, so I ended that on purpose. So for the podcast purposes, we can still talk about it forever if we want to, and I know that we can.
God,
But I did end it purposely because we simultaneously just made a video to send to everybody that wants to know about
nutrition.
macronutrients.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, so surprise and a little peek behind the curtain on how we make content without
All at once.
A little 2-for-1 special.
Yeah.
right
We're
there.
so good at what we do, guys. We are.
We're just doing it all at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
We're so good that we didn't even know we were doing it. But let's get into, do we want to get into athlete shoutouts or season talk? Let's talk about season because then our athlete shoutouts kind of correlate with that. But this season is endurance season at Krave Gym, and unfortunately at West Des Moines, our Strava numbers are
we're gonna have some issues.
Super unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sucks for you.
I feel very bad for you guys.
So, for the first time, we're
Ryan
on the,
White's back though.
Yeah.
Woo!
He is. And
Need some help.
Yeah, he's going to help
Some
our
big time
team
help.
jump back up. But
I was gonna message him and recruit him to our side. I think
Nope.
he'd
That
like
is
that.
not
But
okay.
now I
Jump on
guess
over, yeah.
he got talked back in.
Yeah,
So-
joined the group.
So what we do, if you're not familiar, is at Krave, we have our Strava challenges this season because we're running miles. This is our endurance season. This is our steady state endurance season. And so we are working on long distance type of running. So we do a mile count in our teams. And it feels like the big brother is kind of like getting beat up right now. So I don't know if it's like we're letting you win a little bit just to make the little brother feel good, or the younger sibling feel like okay about like.
I mean, usually in that
do
case,
stuff
I think
too.
usually in that case you try to keep it a little close though. Like,
Well,
this
let's
is not-
talk about this
you know,
week. So
yeah,
last week the
Yeah.
results, Joaquin had 300 miles, which is a great, and we had 263 at West Des Moines. So we lost by 30.
So West Des Moines' good week is only losing by 36
Yeah.
miles.
Yes, and this has been our best week.
Still think
So
you're gonna win.
We got a whole month.
we got a long time to
and
go.
some extra incentives in our.
But
All
Yeah.
right.
with those
Going towards our
incentives, if you
athletes
haven't
here.
heard, the West Des Moines athletes, if we are winning the overall miles, which means we need to
Got
win
some
the
work
next
to
couple
do.
weeks by a couple hundred. If we're winning the next a few hundred,
Never say never.
by October
Pick it up.
20th, the athletes
Oh,
get to
October
choose.
20th?
Yeah.
You're not even allowing yourselves that extra.
Not even the
2
extra full
weeks?
week. Yeah. Not even
No,
the-
because
because the Halloween party.
The Halloween party is what
Yeah,
the
the
bet is on.
Halloween party's like that
Okay.
following
It's
week.
that following week.
this is-
So there's that
that's where,
Thursday.
that's where the extra incentive
So
comes into
the
play.
incentive comes in.
Well, I mean, I would
The
push you until the
coaches-
28th then.
Yeah, I would
mean.
give
The
you so much
coaches
time.
get-
We'll figure
The
it out.
athletes
I mean, you
get
guys
to
do
pick.
you, whatever you
The
want.
athletes get to pick what we do. No, we should say if we win it by next week. If we're leading by next week, you guys get to pick what we wear to that.
Go for it.
Okay,
Halloween
let's do
festival.
it.
But the bet is actually until October. So we'll wear whatever costumes you guys decide.
The West Des Moines
Or
coaches will wear
West Des
whatever
Moines will.
costumes.
And so if we're leading by that time, so let's get our miles in. Let's get tracking.
I have an idea for us for our Halloween costume.
Okay.
Cool.
Don't let I was gonna say-
Good input.
Nice side note there.
Full side note.
But our race is coming up. So we have on October 9th, coming up next weekend, is our More Than Pink 5K and walk.
Yes.
And so we have 16 people signed up right now. Go to craveathlete.com to sign up for that. We need to know the number. That's how you pay for everything. You get a t-shirt, you get coach's kolaches. We're having a DJ there.
He has a wedding.
Are we having another DJ there? We should look into getting another DJ. But
I have my phone.
right.
I have
And
to
We
figure it out.
speakers.
can figure it out.
Well,
They're like all booked. The guy we used here one time has a wedding too. It's a Saturday. I don't know. But
Figure it out.
If anyone
can look
has,
at
if
more.
anyone has musical taste,
anybody have
We
a
can-
band?
we can just
Anybody
do, like,
know a
some-
band that wants to
Ooh.
play?
We can do like karaoke.
That'd be a fun-
Cool.
Karaoke.
There we go.
Karaoke.
Kind of rotate.
Anyway, so we'll have a bunch of booths, some
I'll try to-
entertainment. We have a bunch of companies that are coming through with free gift cards and a whole bunch of cool stuff. So sign up at craveathlete.com. Purchase that, sign up there. It is now $35. So jump on there and get signed up. That includes the race t-shirt and all the goodies while you're there. So anything else with the race?
No, get signed up.
Get signed up. Cool.
There,
And it's an awesome race. It's a cool course. We run through like a dog park and it's a nice little course.
Well, I don't know if we run through the dog park.
Well,
that
you
might,
run
through-
that
we
run
might
by
scare
the
people
dog
off.
park.
That
You run
dogs
right
are gonna like
next
chase
to
them and then.
you run right next to a cool dog park that
You run
has
along.
a fence.
Get to run with the dogs.
Yeah.
Run along
For like
beside the dogs.
Run with the
block.
animals.
For like a half
Hey,
block.
It's like a 50-foot.
I'm trying to make
Hey,
it
we're
seem
just
like
trying
a
to promote
nice
it.
trail.
Everyone
Okay,
likes dogs.
It is a nice trail. It
Okay,
really
so are we gonna say that it's not a nice
I mean,
trail?
I could. What if people don't like dogs? They're like, oh,
Who
I'm out
doesn't
of that
like
race.
dogs?
They're in a fence.
Run on the other side of
They're-
the.
they're-
I'm
they're-
gonna
they're-
run
dogs.
through a
If you
dog
don't like
park.
them, you're fine.
Yeah. The dogs are only like visible.
Okay,
Okay.
if you don't
You
like
get the
dogs,
point.
don't come to the race. I don't want to know you anyway.
Yeah.
How about that?
There you go. That's a good point.
If you don't like
Kinda
dogs,
hard.
Will
you're not
Knox,
my.
will
you're
Knox
not
and
my kind of
Baxter be
person.
there?
No,
They should be.
They should be.
No.
They should be
they
there.
could lead the pace. They could be
No.
really
Right?
experts.
They're pace. Yeah, they're pace dogs.
Pace dogs.
So we have a mile run with that, or a mile run / walk. So if you do have kids that want to come, they can participate in that as well. Then we have our challenges for this season. Our challenge is a timed mile run. So every week we are doing our challenges. And so I wanted to give a shout out to West Des Moines. The top 10 right now is under 7 minutes. So if you can break a 7-minute mile, you are in our top 10. First place for the guys is Justin Bielenberg. And first place for the ladies is Morgan Capel. And she's we need to get her over here because I think she's formerly a Waukee athlete.
I think she's still. I mean, I've seen her over there doing some stuff on her own, so I think that
She does team sessions here,
She
so
does
we get
3
to claim
team
her.
sessions here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reclaim her.
Anyway, so congratulations
On
to
our
you two.
leaderboard.
And then for the Waukee side of things, the men, the top 10 is under 750. So if you can break 750, you will be on the top 10 for the guys over at Waukee, and for the women, it is under 845. And shout out to Dave Shushman
Dave Shushman.
and Keith. They tied for first place over there. And then Savannah. How do you say Savannah's last name?
Gagne. Sorry, Savannah, if you're listening. I don't know.
Anyway.
Gagne.
That's how you spell it. I like it. So Savannah,
I'm just
shout
using
out, congratulations. She is number 1 for the women.
What's her
over there.
time?
Her time is at 6:40.
Dang, that is speed.
That is
She's
speed.
Baby.
Yeah. So congratulations for
When
everybody.
did we? So I was thinking about this. Do you remember when we all had to run like a mile race, like in grade school or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Everybody had to
physical
do that?
fitness test. Yeah.
That's what it reminds
Someone
me of.
said it this morning. Actually,
Did they?
like,
I think that's how I
middle
like
school,
introed it to week
Because
one.
I was
Sorry
gonna do
for
like
bringing you back to
challenge
middle
day.
school
Remember
PE
back in
here.
the day when
I
you
love
had to do? So what is it
Yeah,
called?
the presidential physical fitness
Okay,
test.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I remember one time running a mile and I was crying because my shoe came untied, but my friend was beating me. I'm like, you can't beat me. My shoe's untied. And it was like the most, I don't remember a lot of shit, but I remember that.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
That's funny.
did our PE teacher just make us do it? But I feel like it was
Oh,
more of
yeah.
like more
It was-
intense than
I
that.
think it
like I
was,
feel like
like-
it was like a big deal.
I felt like it was, yeah, because like we did
It
the
was
mile
just a
run.
year,
You had to
Hey,
do the
you know
shuttle.
what we should bring back?
Push-ups,
The pacer
pull-ups,
test. The pacer
push-ups.
test.
Pacer
These guys
test
did the
sucks.
pacer test.
Yeah.
Was that?
The beep test, where you had to like just run down and back in your
And
basketball
it
court.
starts super
Oh, yeah.
slow,
And it just
then
gets
you're like,
faster
okay,
and
this
faster,
is
and you
easy,
just
and
go
then it's
until
like,
you puke, basically.
How long does that take? Is it like
If you
30
go,
It was like
you
6
if-
minutes, wasn't it? As long?
Oh, if you go forever,
30
you
minutes.
can go up to like 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, really? So it's just.
So you just probably
Depends
how long
on
you
the-
probably weren't good enough to go that
That's
far.
That's probably the truth.
That would have been a good championship thing to do for
Ooh, you
endurance
You can look
season.
that up on YouTube.
That'd be
Give you some
The
major
pacer test,
PTSD from middle school.
Maybe at
Right.
Smash Park we'll do the pacer.
Ooh, we should do the pacer
And
test.
the
In
Halloween
costume?
We just-
That'd
That'd be
be-
funny.
We just
People would-
absolutely hate all of
In
our
Jake's
athletes.
Squirtle costume.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a Squirtle costume at this point in time.
I think regardless of them picking that costume, we should definitely
I
you
like
should wear that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
where
not
to
a
get. I
bad-
guess I gotta
yeah.
go on Amazon.
Wait till
Not
you
a
see
bad
our
idea.
costumes.
I want to know now.
I was gonna say,
I don't know
You're
what
not
it
going to be
is.
that excited. You're going to be like, really?
Really, yeah, you're making this like a
Any
really
other
big deal.
season talk? Athlete shout outs really fast. Going back to nutrition, my athlete shout out for the week is Cy Reddy. He is nearly down 100 pounds in right at
That boy
1
Cy.
year. And so he's been doing nutrition and PT with me for a year, down 100 pounds. The guy is a stud. plays cricket and dominates cricket as well. But he's an awesome batsman and outfielder for cricket. But his, what he just basically participates in the program. So it's like he just runs the play. I give him the play. Here's the play. Run this X's and O's, and he just does it every time.
Process.
And so he's lost 100 pounds. He's gained a lot of muscle, gained a lot of strength, and he just continues to hit 2 team sessions a week and 3 PT with me for a week each week, and then he does whatever else, and then the nutrition side of things, he just hits his numbers, and here's the play, run it.
Yeah. And he's like unrecognizable from a year ago.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you saw him from a year ago and you see him now, it's
We did.
insane.
And we're gonna release those pictures when he's at his goal weight. So that still is another about 20 pounds. So we're gonna get 20 pounds lower and take him. He's done it before with us too. So he's lost 100 pounds before. Then he had some injuries and some things came up that he gained the weight back. Wasn't working with us for an amount of time, and now he got serious again and rocking and rolling. So it's a huge shout out to him. Great job and keep it up, and we'll be you'll see some really cool content and really cool before and afters with it. So.
And my athlete is Annie Lowe, so she is from Waukee, obviously the best gym there is. She is so funny. So she was 5 weeks postpartum, and she texted me and she said, "Am I able to come back yet?" And my first thought was, "Aren't you tired as shit?"
And she actually, I have to mention too, she texted me the week before, and she's like, "Hey, I'm 4 weeks out. Can I come back?" And I was like, "No, I don't think you should." And then she texted, and then I had to give her some shit because she texted you like 2 days later.
And I'm like, "Listen,
and she's like, hey, can I come back?" And so I had to text her back, and I was like, "Oh, so is my opinion invalid?"
I go, "Your doctor releases you at 6 weeks for a reason. Give yourself some more recovery." But she was one that would work out and do 3 sessions a week, push it so hard, and it's just so inspiring to see her. When she was pregnant, she was just killing it. And now that she's back, she's consistent 3 days a week, waking up at 5 a.m. with a baby that doesn't sleep. She looks awesome, and she's always in just positive spirits, and she's kicking butt. So keep it up, Annie.
Crushing it.
Zach.
Do I get one?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. My shout out will be Nick Mihalovich. I know, yeah. And so Beth, his wife, has been doing personal training with us for a while now. I think she was with you for a while, right, Tyler? For a little bit. And then she wanted to come over and work with me. And no, I'm just kidding. Schedule-wise.
Just a little bit better.
Schedule-wise, she says schedule-wise, it just fits with me. No, I'm just kidding. But so I've worked with Beth for close to a year now. Can you believe it's been almost a year since I've been back full-time? Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, it's next month. But anyways, so yeah, almost a year I've been working with Beth now. And then I believe it was May, she just mentioned, she's like, "Hey, my husband wants to get into some personal training too. Is that something that you could do?" And so we made it work. He does 3 PT sessions a week now, and it's really cool to see because he's down 33 pounds since May, so about 4 months. Yeah, wow. It's insane. It really is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so for him, it was something where he has a desk job. Maybe he wasn't super active beforehand. Maybe he wasn't super eating right beforehand. And for him, and it's hard to do. It's hard to go from not doing anything to committing to working out the right way, eating the right way, and doing all of these things right, and basically completely shifting his lifestyle around. But you can see a huge difference in just these 4 months. So he, like I said, he went from he started doing 3 personal training sessions a week. He comes in on his off days, gets a little bit of cardio in, and he's also started tracking his macros as well.
Nice.
And so in that time, he's down 33 pounds. Super committed. Works his butt off in the sessions. Does a really good job hitting his numbers. Same thing. And honestly, it's the same thing as like what you said with Sai. I just tell him what to do. He does it, and it works.
Right.
It's crazy how that happens too.
It
you know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like we know what we're talking about.
Right?
Almost.
Shocker.
Yeah. Sometimes it's harder to convince people that.
I know.
Sometimes Google's smarter than we are, but
way too many times.
Right. Jake.
My athlete shout out is going to go to Brent Loss. Been working with him on nutrition since December. It's getting close to about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, been a long time.
Nice.
And he's a really good example. of staying the course, trusting the process. I think when I started working with him, the process was slow. The progress was slow at the beginning. It took a while, once you get the hang of it, even then it might take your body a while to really see those changes. But I mean, he stayed committed. He, again, you hand him the play, he runs it, and he did a super, super good job of that. And since, the last few months we're down, I don't know, close to 40 pounds with him, which is crazy. I think I was talking to Amber about him. It's almost like you don't recognize him anymore. He's looking so much better. And he stays committed. He's in here 3 times a week, busting his ass in the team sessions. I think he just ran the Dam to Dam here a couple weeks ago. It absolutely killed it, and he was super, super proud of himself. I'm super proud of him for being able. He's like, I never thought I'd be able to tackle something like that again.
Isn't that crazy? Because when he first, because I think I was over here a lot more when he first joined here, and he just didn't seem like a runner.
No,
so for him, I saw a picture of him doing that. I'm like, that is amazing.
No, it was awesome. It's like I never thought I'd be able to do something like that again. So for him to be able to make that commitment, make the progress enough to do that, and even today he busted out a top 10 mile time, and he's like, I didn't know I had that in me.
Awesome.
It's crazy to see what you can do when you stay committed and.
I love watching him on the bags.
Oh, he kills it.
Yeah, he's had martial arts experience in the past, and so watching him, you can tell if someone's done martial arts in the past because they have certain body alignments and the way that they the way that he kicks and strikes the bag is someone with experience, and so it's fun to watch because again, if you come in and you don't know who has experience or not. The first time I saw him on the bag, I was like, "Hey, you've done some taekwondo before, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." So it's always fun to watch.
He's stayed the process, been committed to it, and he's made a lot of progress since then.
That's awesome.
Awesome, and that can also be you. So all these stories that we tell are, are people that, just like anybody, can, if you listen, if you get your coach and you're dedicated, you can do just as much as anybody else. And so if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely hit us up and get started for sure. But that's all we got today. Anything else we want to add?
I don't think so. Do we want to do a craving for next week?
No. Keep your eye out.
We'll think of it.
We don't know one yet, so it's not going to be.
Well, what I was telling Zach is we could do what do you like to eat the most? Carbs, fats, or proteins? Then you can put in what your favorite type of that is.
Oh, well, if you guys have thought about it before,
that's
we
just
can
I thought we were going to
roll.
brainstorm on the spot.
I like the idea.
Okay.
Amber's
That's
really
what
in
we'll
charge of
do.
that.
Okay.
Keep
Keep your
I'll
eye out.
probably
Really, it's whatever she
Keep your
wants.
eye out for our craving. Get involved on social media, and we'll get your opinion. We'll talk about it next week
There's
online.
an 80% chance it won't be that.
But remember, at the end of the day, you are an athlete. Live like it, and we'll talk to you guys later. Let's
Bye,
get out of here.
guys.
Bye.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You are an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.